In property law, an owner may subdivide his or her land into lots to create a subdivision in which all grantees agree to abide by the same or similar restrictive covenants in furtherance of the owner's general plan or scheme of development. But what happens if the general characteristics of the neighborhood change over time? Will the restrictive covenants still be enforceable? The Maryland Court of Appeals considered this question in Chevy Chase Village versus Jaggers. In 1927, the Chevy Chase Land Company subdivided land it owned in Montgomery County, Maryland. The subdivision consisted of 13 blocks, numbered 4 through 16. Blocks 6 and 11 contained 60 lots and were set aside for commercial development. Except for a few lots, the remaining lots were exclusively for residential purposes. To this end, each lot in the residential part of the subdivision was bound by a series of restrictive covenants that appeared in each of the original deeds conveying the land. The covenants expressly stated they ran with the land and were binding on grantees and their heirs and assigns. Further, they stated that the houses built on the lots were to be used for residential purposes exclusively. Finally, they stated that any violation could be enjoined and enforced in a suit. In 1947, Dr. Frank Jaggers, Jr. and his wife purchased a lot in the residential part of the subdivision and lived there until 1967. During most of those years, Jaggers maintained a doctor's office on the property. In addition, in 1954, Jaggers applied to the Montgomery County Board of Appeals for a special exception to use his property as a doctor's office, which the county granted. Then, in 1967, Jaggers and his wife moved out and rented the house to another doctor. But even after moving, Jaggers maintained the home as his doctor's office. Subsequently, Chevy Chase Village sued Jaggers in state circuit court for an injunction to prevent him from using the home as his doctor's office. Following a hearing, the court denied the village injunctive relief, concluding that the covenants weren't enforceable because the neighborhood's character had changed. The village appealed to the Maryland Court of Appeals.